Hi, good morning. We're gonna proceed to discuss the thermal properties of matter, which is another topic in our class. And these are the subtopics right here. So we have the equations of state, molecular properties of matter, the kinetic molecular model of an ideal gas, the heat capacities, molecular speeds, and phases of matter. But this video focuses only for the equations of state for now. Okay. So what is an equation of state? In thermodynamics, no, it is a mathematical equation that describes the relationship between the state variables. So we call that as the pressure, volume, temperature, and the number of moles. So for a given substance or system. So equations of state are essential for understanding and predicting the behavior of gas, liquid, and solids under different conditions. So in here we have, let's say for example, we took a glass of water that is directly from the fridge, and then we pour it in the glass here. So we can notice that there will be these water vapors that are forming here. Okay, so these water vapors are this condensed water here is actually a product from the cold temperature here, as we have discussed, from the phase changes. So the water molecules um, around this glass of water will try to condense because of the low temperature of the water inside this glass here. So that's why um, there will be um, water molecules that will be forming here. So there was actually a phase change. So in this lesson, we'll focus on the relationship of those macroscopic properties that was mentioned before. That is the pressure, volume, temperature, and mass. So in order to relate this state variables, so we call this as state variables. So we have the equation of state. Okay, so that is equal to, you have PV equals nRT. So I'm sure that we are very familiar with this equation. Okay, so let's take a look of this figure right here that is from University Physics by Young and Friedman. So this is a hypothetical setup in which there is a cylinder, and then there is a thermometer that is embedded, and then there is also a source of gas here, and then they also installed a pressure gauge, and then there is a mechanical cylinder here that will actually compress or expand the system. Okay, so recall that our state variables, which are the pressure, the the volume, and the temperature, and then also let's also include the number of moles n. So if we're gonna pump more gas into the system, then we increase the number of moles in the system. Okay, so if we increase that number of moles in the system, so hypothetically we can also see an increase of the temperature in the system, because um, take note that the temperature is actually the average kinetic energy of the of the molecules inside the system. So if we increase the number of particles, so we also increase the kinetic energy. So theoretically we should see an increase in the temperature in the system. Okay, so what if we increase um, the temperature in the system? So for example, we have here a torch, so that is used to heat the gas inside the system. So of course, um, we should see um, an increase of the temperature. Okay, and since the temperature also increases, we should see also an increase of the pressure, because the molecules here, if we're going to imagine that one, so the the pressure here is actually the collisions of the gas in the wall in this cylinder here. So if we have a movable piston here, if we have a movable piston here, this one, and then this is also movable, this part here. So if we increase the temperature of the system, so the pressure also increases, and then there's a value of that it's going to somehow push this piston here, thereby expanding the volume of the system. Okay, so in short, all of these variables, um, you can only keep one variable as constant, and then the other variable will somehow increase or decrease in value. So you cannot um, um, in a setting like this, you cannot hold um, all these state variables as constant, and then there is no effect for the other variable. So that is the explanation in this figure right here. So in order to describe that situation earlier, we have the ideal gas equation, which is equal um, to this expression here, PV equals nRT. So your N here is actually defined as the number of moles of the gas, and then R is the gas constant, the T is the temperature of the system, that is the absolute temperature, so meaning that is in terms of Kelvin, and the volume, of course, we should follow SI unit, so this should be in meter cube, and then the pressure, that is in terms of Pascal also. So R is called the universal gas constant, in which there are two values here, but they are actually equivalent. So you have, in terms of SI units, this is 8.314 joule per mole times Kelvin, and in terms of the pressure, that is in terms of atmospheres, and volume, that is in terms of liter, then it's gonna have this value right here. So take note that um, this equation, the ideal gas equation, is an idealized model that works best at very low pressure and high temperature. So take note that um, we have very low temperature, very low pressure here, and high temperature. So a quick question: what can you say about the motion of gas particles in this setting? Okay. So if we're gonna do some manipulations in the equation here, you have PV equals nRT. So we could let from here we can derive the value of N, that is from the total mass of the substance, as M total divided by the molar mass of the substance. So if we're going to substitute that one, you have PV equals M total over M times RT. Okay. So take note that the density of a substance is equal to mass total divided by the volume it occupies. So if we're going to manipulate this equation, we're gonna have here PV, not PV, this is P times M. So if we're going to cross multiply, and then you have over RT, and this is equal to M total over V, in which this factor here is actually the density value. So from here we can get the density of the what? So what density here? It's actually the gas density. So you have the gas density is equal to the pressure times the molar mass of the gas divided by the gas constant R multiplied by the temperature. So take note here that the density of the gas depends on the temperature of the system. Oh, not the system. Oh, we can actually somehow say a system. So for example, depends on the environment. So let's say in general that this is in the environment that contains the gas. So we can see here from this formula that the density of these gas particles depends on the temperature here. So let us say surrounding temperature. So let us say uh, okay. So let's say in the environment wherein we are experiencing what atmosphere pressure. So we can say that the gas particles is somehow more dense if the temperature is low, and if the temperature is high, then we can say that the gas particles is less dense from this equation. So the density here is not actually constant. Also following from the previous equation, that is PV equals nRT. So if we're gonna manipulate this again, we could have PV over T equals nR, in which it suggests that this term here, this PV over T term, is equal to some constant nR. So therefore we can say that PV over T is equal to a constant, and if this is the case, so we can actually define, you have P1 V1 over T1 is equal to P2 V2 over T2. So this 1 and 2 subscripts here actually defines your initial and final state of your gas. Okay, so from our example earlier, we have the gas particles that is contained, okay, and then somehow we um, we increase the temperature of the system, so we add heat, okay, and then we can actually derive the resulting pressure. If we held the volume constant here, we can actually derive the value for the resulting pressure of the system if we know the final temperature and the initial state of the system. So from this equation right here, so you can say that this equation, this is the ideal gas law at constant, this is at constant mass. Okay, so just a quick review from your chemistry. So we can actually find the molar mass of a substance, or for example a specific element, from here. So this is the molar mass of your substance or element. Okay. So for example, if we're gonna calculate the molar mass of CO2, so take note that this compound here, do we say it? Yeah, this is a compound. So you have one carbon and two oxygen. Okay. So for oxygen, I think for one oxygen molecule, I think it has 16.01 grams per mole, and for one carbon, I think that was close to 12 point something, let us say 12.03, so grams per mole. So if we're gonna get the total molar mass here, so we're gonna multiply this, the molar mass of oxygen, by 2 because we have 2 oxygen, and then the result that will be the total molar mass of 1 mole of carbon dioxide. Okay, so if I'm going to calculate that one, 2 times 16.01 plus 12.03, 2 times 16.01 plus 12.03, so I will have 44.05 grams per mole of carbon. Okay, so this is for CO2. So this is the molar mass of the CO2. Okay, so we have an example here. What is the volume of a container that holds exactly 1 mole of an ideal gas at standard temperature and pressure? Okay, so we have the pressure here as 1 atm, and the temperature, STP actually consecutes to T equals 0 degrees Celsius and 1 atm of pressure. So we're gonna need the ideal gas equation, PV equals nRT. But take note that we're gonna need to convert this temperature to Kelvin because we need the absolute temperature. So your T will be 0 degrees Celsius. You're not gonna write it like that. 0 plus 273.15. So you'll have 273.15 kelvins. So this is your absolute temperature. Okay, and for the pressure, so I think we could just use the gas constant earlier, that is 0.08206 liter times atm per mole times Kelvin. Okay, so since we are asked here to calculate for the volume, so we're just gonna manipulate this equation into like this. So you have PV equals nRT, divide both sides by the pressure, and you'll get V equals nRT over the pressure. Okay, so we are given with 1 mole, so you have 1 mole. So we're gonna write it like that because the unit for mole is MOL, 1 mole. And then the gas constant, 0.08206 liter times atm per mole times Kelvin, and then the temperature, that is 273.15 Kelvin, and then we divide this by the pressure, 1 atm. Okay, so again, we did not convert this atmospheric pressure into pascals because we are using the gas constant that is in terms of atmospheric pressure. So the volume here is 0.8206 times 273. So this is 22.4. Okay, so what's the unit? So the Kelvin here cancels out. Okay, cancels out, and then the mole cancels out, the atm cancels out. So you're gonna left with the unit liter. So imagine this 22.4 liters of volume. So how do we imagine that one? So in terms of dimension, Okay, I'm gonna search the equivalence of 1 liter. So our result was V equals 22.4 liters. So for me, of if we're going to imagine this one, so this will be 22 pieces of 1 liter of um, water container, no? that we buy, um, but for me it is convenient to see the dimensions. So if we have this conversion factor, so 1 liter is actually equivalent to 0.001 meter cube. So if I'm going to convert this to meter cube, so this should be 22.4 liter times, you have 1 liter is 0.001 meter cube, and this will be equal to 0.00. Okay, so this will be 0.00 0.0224 meter cube. Okay. So let's assume that this volume or this gas would actually occupy a cube. Okay, so you have the side of the cube is actually the cube root of the volume. So let us say this will be the cube root of 0.0224 meter cube, and we'll get the length of the side as cube root of 0.0224. So you have 0.28 meters, or in centimeters this will be 28 centimeter. So you can actually just imagine that this type of gas will actually occupy a cube that has 28 centimeters of side length. So just like this, this is the top view of our cube. So this is 28 cm and 28 cm. Okay. Okay, so let's have another example. So we have environmental scientists collect a 10-liter sample of vehicle exhaust gas, which contains 10% carbon dioxide by volume, at a temperature of 35 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 2.5 atm. So how many moles of CO2 are present in that sample? So if the exhaust is released into the atmosphere at 1 atm and 25 degrees Celsius, what would be its new volume? Okay, so for this example, we're gonna use again the equation PV equals nRT, and we're gonna have to solve for the number of moles. So this will be N equals PV over RT. So take note that in the given volume, that is 10 liters, only 10% of that is carbon dioxide. So your volume here will be equal to 0.10 of the given volume, that is 10 liters. So this is 0.10 times 10 liters because it's only 10%. So 10% of this is actually what? So 1 liter is carbon dioxide. So you have the pressure is given at 2.5 the initial pressure, that is 2.5 atm, and then the initial volume was 1 liter, and you have the R. So we're gonna use here the 0.08206 liter times atm per mole times Kelvin, and then that is multiplied by the initial temperature, that was 35 degrees Celsius, but in Kelvin that is 308.15 Kelvin. Okay, so this will be equal to 2.5 divided by 0.08206 times 300. So there is actually 0.099 mole of carbon dioxide. Okay. So what if the question was um, how much in grams are these CO2? So we're gonna use again the equation earlier, or just multiply this with the conversion factor that we've calculated earlier. That is 1 mole of CO2, that was 44.04, I think, that is grams of CO2. So this will be 0.099 times 44.04. So it means that you can only have 4.36 or 4.4. This is 4.4 grams of CO2 from that sample. So you can only get 4.4 grams of CO2 from that sample. Okay, so for the second problem, we're gonna use the ideal gas equation, but uh, the constant mass relationship. So you have P1 V1 over T1 is equal to P2 V2 over T2. So take note that we're gonna solve here for V2. So what we're gonna do here is multiply both sides by T2 over P2. T2 over P2. Okay, so we're gonna result with V2 is equal to P1 V1 over T1, that is multiplied by T2 over P2. Okay, so take note that our pressures are in terms of atm and temperatures are in terms of degrees Celsius, so we need to convert those to Kelvin and pascals. Okay, so our P1 here is 2.5 atm, so 2.5 atm in terms of pascal is 2.53. So I'm not gonna show how to convert that one, so maybe you can do that in your seat. Times 10 to the power of 5 pascal, and then you'll have V1, that was actually 1 liter. So I think it's okay for us not to convert the volume here. So that is 1 liter because only 10% of this 10 liter is the carbon dioxide. So you'll have, and then T2 is 25 degrees Celsius. So in Kelvin, that is 298.15 Kelvin. and then this will be over with P1 times P2. So your P2 is 180 m, this one. So this is 1.013 times 10 to the power of 5 pascals. So we're using here 3 decimal places, so let's use also 3 decimal places in the 2.5 ATM. So this is 2.533. Okay, and then the temperature one, which is 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is 35 plus 273.15. So this is 308.15 Kelvin. So your V2 will be equal to 298.15 divided by 1.013 exponent 5 times 308.15. So this is 2.42 liters. Okay, so take note that our gas has expanded from 1 liter here, from 1 liter to 2.42 liters when it was released in the atmosphere. So you might wonder that earlier we have calculated the density of the gas to be pressure times the molar mass divided by the R times T. Okay, so if we held the constant, if we held the mass of this gas as constant, so therefore we can see that when it was released in the environment, there should be a decrease in the density. Okay, so from here, from this equation, so our temperature actually lowered and our pressure also lowered, therefore we should also see a decrease in the density of the gas. Okay, because our temperature lowered when it was released in the environment, the temperature lowered and then the pressure also lowered, so we should also see a decrease in the density of the gas here. So this supports our result here. Okay, so I guess that's just for now. So thank you for listening and see you in the next upload.